That being the case, Minister, we're seeing an increase in the amount of electricity theft for which a consumer has to pay. So, Minister, in light of the fact that while we're seeing this increase of money that the consumer has to pay, we're seeing an increase in the profits of the JPSCO. What is being done to deal with the consumer side of the problem, which is to get them to pay less for electricity theft? What is being done by the JPSCO to lower the amount of theft that consumers have to pay for?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. It's good to finally see you being an advocate for the consumers, I must tell you. You were quite silent over the last few weeks. Your silence was deafening over the last few weeks between July and August. Madam Speaker, let us be frank and honest. The situation is, based on the current license that the JPS has, they recover everything from the consumer. So the fact of the matter is, whether they have a very, very aggressive anti-theft program in place or not, it makes no difference to the bottom line. The fact of the matter is that this is something that requires not only JPS, but it requires all of the stakeholders, including the government, to come up with a comprehensive plan to deal with non-technical losses, which in essence is theft. The fact is, member, that we are moving there. We are working with our partners, the IDB and the World Bank, to assist us in coming up with a proper holistic approach. But as the Minister of Finance and I have discussed, it is going to take significant amounts of funding that will have to come from the government if we are to really tackle this. There is a commitment to do so. It's a matter of finding the fiscal space. But it is a matter that has been raised at the highest level, the Prime Minister, the Cabinet, and most importantly, the Minister of Finance. And we are going in the wrong direction. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. Non-technical losses are increasing rather than reducing. And at the end of the day, the consumer, each and every one of us in here, and who has a connection to JPS, pays the piper. So it is something that is high on my agenda. It is not an easy fix based on the geographics and, of course, the culture that we have. But I look forward to working with you and all other stakeholders in finding a solution and a commitment from the government to find the resources, the fiscal resources that are going to be needed to tackle this in a comprehensive manner.
Madam Speaker, to the Minister, in conceding that the problem has gotten worse with greater theft, is the Minister aware of a private member's motion that I had tabled some time ago, almost 3 years now, providing specific proposals for lowering the amount of theft that is occurring, thereby lowering the price of electricity to the consumers, one, and secondly, in relation to the operations of NESOL, can the Minister state what is the situation with that organization, which had as one of its function the increased use of energy efficiency devices and also regularization of electricity in urban communities?
Question number one, member, is I don't have a copy of that, and I would wish for you to provide me with one, and I'd be more than happy to discuss it in detail with you. And secondly, as we are aware, NESOL is closed, and that has been taken over by the ministry under Minister of State, Honorable J.C. Hutchinson. There is a program for rural electrification that continues. It is not funded to my expectations, but the fact of the matter is that the funds from NESOL did come back to the ministry, and you will recall that it went to the Ministry of Local Government and only came back to us last year in terms of the rural electrification program, and that is being spearheaded. And I have been out several times before Beryl, and there are some programs that are being done by JSIF, as you know, and JPS, but there still is a tremendous amount of communities that do not have proper electricity, and it is something that we are going to continue to advocate for additional funding. I'm even hoping that a possibility of getting some funds in the supplementary that is to come shortly, the first supplementary, to be able to continue that program.
Madam Speaker, the Minister says he is not aware of the private member's motion. It's actually number 8 and was tabled on the 27th of April, 2021, and it appears here every week when we meet. And this shows a commitment to lowering the price to the consumers. But, Madam Speaker, going back to the question of NESOL. NESOL wasn't about REP. It was about urbanization, regularization of electricity theft. And you're saying that is no longer your responsibility? Pardon? Oh, it is back in your ministry. So it's quite rightly to ask you, because last week we did receive on the Cabinet's report a new board for NESOL. So are the funds in place for NESOL to operate as an entity, and where are they located?
Member, I ask that you give me some time to research it and see exactly what the status is. And I'll get back to you on it.
Thank you. Motions that may be made at the commencement of public business requiring notice. Motions relating to the sitting of the House. Motion for leave to introduce bills. Presentation of bills without leave of the House first obtained. House Leader? Oh. Deputy Speaker?